Gonna get some wind, whatever. I'm not gonna talk too much on this one, I don't think. Plan is we're gonna mount the surplus military shipping container box on the back of the bike.
Hello and welcome to, well, Carlin's Worlds. Yeah, that should work. I'm a wanderer, a tinkerer, sometimes a nomad, a military veteran. I do things differently. There will be tinkering. I have a motorcycle, a truck, and a school bus. I live off-grid, so there will be some solar, batteries, inverters, and maybe even some wind. It blows. And that's all I can fit into about 30 seconds. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Cool. On with the show already.
I don't know if I'm ever gonna want to restore this to how it looks, but I thought I'd get some shots of it, of what it looks like when I start. And then I'm probably going to take some of the labels off. I might leave some on. I kind of like the idea that it says empty label, or empty container. Empty label, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so this is going to be my tail box on the motorcycle. Nothing on that side. Nothing on that side. And then basically there was one of two and two of two, you know, so I only got one. 142 MDG container number 1. That probably meant something. And then probably a serial number. I don't think there's anything on the bottom. It's just kind of scratched up a little bit. $39.99. Oh, geez. And $20 shipping. I forgot about that. That's still $60 total for an aluminum waterproof container that's big enough. I think I can get a laptop in that. I can get cameras in that. If I take out the foam inserts, because this is the cool thing, it came, that was on the top, and this was obviously made for something. And it can somewhat be disassembled. It's currently glued with contact cement. But I'm going to repurpose this as much as I can, because obviously it doesn't do me any good if it's full of foam. You can't get anything in there. But I want to be able to take maybe a tablet with me to work and then cut out a section and put my lunch on the rest of it and have a spot for a water bottle or something like that. You know, I can just take the whole thing out and then make myself maybe a modular block that I could put back in there again. I'm going to leave that out because when I mount it, I'm going to need access to it. So the plan is, since I'm out here, I have bought screws that will match these screws. So I think what I'm going to do, take out the 4 corners, set this in place, and drill holes in here that'll line up with the screws. And then just mount this right down solid, and then it'll be basically a part of this. Also, I'm going to have to take my tools out, so tools are going to have to go in that. Part of this also is I need a little bit more tools. I'd like to have tire changing stuff, maybe an air pump, the tire irons, and the tools I need to change a tire. Alright, so if I need to on the side of the road, I could patch a tire. To make this easier on myself, and I've done this before, I think this is how I did it on the Alaska trip bike too. Take all of these out, lift this off, mount it or hold it on that, and use that to spot the holes and then drill through it, and then put this back on with the 4 that I'm going to leave in, hold it in place. Then I can run the holes, the new screws down into it, and then we're set. This is not going to be loaded up heavy like I did on the Alaska trip. It's just a convenient place to put a few things that I need. Because there's not a lot of weight on this, I'm going to slide it back as far as I think I can get away with. I need these holes to line up. But I should be able to... I need to be able to get the seat off so that I can do maintenance, because you need to get to the engine, you basically take the side panels off, take the seat off, take the scoops off, take the gas tank off. Then you got really good access to everything else. On the Alaska trip bike, because I was trying to shift my load forward, I had a box a little bit bigger than this that I shifted forward. I actually cut the back of the seat off about here and then just had a hole there. Then the seat was small enough I could take the seat off without having to take the box off. That saved me a lot of trouble. And I also eliminated the side panels. I just didn't have them on the Alaska bike. This is the rear cargo area of the bike. I'm going to mount it right onto here using the existing hardware. Tools are going to be in the way. Actually, not in the way so much. Not accessible once we put the box on there. Alright, Phillips, this has just got, I don't remember if they did a captive nut or, no it's not. There's actually a nut on the bottom of this. There we go. Take that out of there. This side and this side are separate pieces, and they're kind of held together by this. And this piece has a couple metal pieces going across it. So to get the holes drilled in the first place, I'm going to take this whole thing off and then lay it upside down on the box and use that to spot the holes. So I got to take it all apart. And then I'll put it back on and line up the middle sets of holes and use the outer ones to mount the box to the bike. Alright, so these are 8mm. For this to work, I need to have much longer screws. So, same size of thread. Got these on Amazon, they got a nice hex head. Make sure they go on all the way. And I was careful to make sure I got hardware that had full-length threads. Okay, there we go. Top piece is plastic, but they put a metal piece in here. And then there's two spacer bushings here. And they welded nutserts into the subframe that goes underneath here. Now what you want to be careful of is all of this is flexible because it's only really attached to the frame down on the side of the handle and here. So when you disconnect all this, this whole piece can move. I pretty much know where I want the box to be. It has to be far enough back that it doesn't overhang the seat so I can get the seat off. However, the first set of holes is right there. Just for reference, I decided that I want to put the handle in the back of the bike. Doesn't really matter, but the yellow stickers in the back. So I'm going to roll the whole thing over. Front faces this way, and this faces this way. Box has got the details on them. We're going to end up drilling right into those. So let's pick the two that are easy first so I can keep it straight. Okay, I got a mark on a curved surface, so I'm going to hold it at an angle and hopefully it starts. Then I'm going to straighten the hole. This is going to be on the wrong side of the curve, so let's start at the same way.
Not ideal, just part of the fun. Right now, kind of eyeball it again, center it on the hole. Good. Let's check the hole. Good. Get that in easily. Well, the two longest ones went down into here, so let's start with them. And I do remember this from last time. This thing, because it does move around, don't try to mess with it. Now, earlier you saw me use the power driver. That's mostly for taking things apart. Make sure it's sitting right. The handle is in the back. Are racked out of position pretty good here, but we start with thinking about where I might be able to find an alignment punch. That all have to line up at the same time. I think the simplest is I'm going to oversize these holes and the ones in the box so I can hit the important hole is the one that's in the metal. I oversized the four corner holes on the plastic and also in the metal box. Not ideal, but whatever. Put some slack into it down here so I can move everything else around. There we go. Now I can get things to sit right. So, this will make it interesting. Because I don't want to over tighten these until I get everything else done, but I can't tighten these once the box is on. How's that for wonderful? Screwdriver works pretty good for that. I can see daylight through the holes. That's a good start. Oversize the holes slightly. I may want to come back and put a washer in here, but what I really want to do, I'm going to get or make some rubber spacers that'll go between the box and the bike, so that when I tighten this down, it's got a little bit of flex to it. You notice I'm tightening these down by hand. So the four, there was one, and then two, and then one. They're tight already. And then when these four are tightened down, they'll basically duplicate what was originally there to hold the bike together. You know, hold those four pieces down. And then basically from there, the box will just pretend it's part of the bike. So in essence,
we have not modified the bike at all, with the slight exception of oversizing those holes slightly. By using these hex head low profile heads, these aren't going to stick up hardly at all. If I put a little rubber sheet down on the bottom here, we're not even going to notice it. Okay. I don't want to kill this. I just want to snug it up enough. It's going to basically squish the aluminum a little bit. Should hold it down nice and solid. And you can see I'm not putting much on it, because we're threaded into aluminum. Kind of keep that in mind. That should do it. Oh, I gotta tighten that down. I knew I'd forget. And right down here, it's basically the main bolt that holds the whole thing together. So now that everything is sitting flat, we can tighten it down. It should be okay. Oh yeah, that looks great. I've got it just as far forward as I can get away with, basically, such that the seat has enough flex that I can get it out of there without it hooking. I want it as far back as I can without feeling like my center of gravity is way off. And then for giggles, here's the trick that'll always mess you up if you got one of these. Getting on because you're used to throwing your foot back there. Alright, now at least I'm wearing boots. If I do this in tennis shoes, it'll really screw me up. But what I learned on the Alaska trip, turn your handlebars all the way forward, or like you're steering to the right, okay? And stand way up here. And then it's real easy to get your foot up, right? No problem, alright? I got lots of room behind me. Could even probably put somebody back there if I cared. And then getting off, what's going to happen is you're going to forget, and you're going to kick that, and you're going to stumble. Alright? So make sure your side stands down, turn your handlebars, get forward, and you get lots of room. This will take some time. I'll kick the hell out of that a few times, I know. But that's basically the trick, is just remember, turn the handlebars first, and then stand way up here, and you can look, and you got lots of room. And do your little hop and run. Get off, lean forward again. You get lots of room. It's okay. But just try not to get in the habit of throwing your foot like you used to do. Then you'll be okay. Okay, here's the long screw sticking out. It's got a lot of thread. I could have gone shorter. However, you can see the one up there. They're all really long. Okay. But I needed to account for these little ridge lines here, whatever you call them, mold lines, right? Because they stick out quite a bit. So the originals were way too short; they wouldn't have worked. Other point, I want to add padding. I might actually, what I'm thinking would work really slick, get a hole saw and then my old tire, cut round washers and put them in between here. That'll give me a little bit of thickness, so then I'll use up a little bit of that screw, which is not a big deal, but I want to put rubber in between this to soften it just a little bit. And I think that'll work out good, and then I'll have plenty of screw. But look at, you can see this one right here. That's how much is sticking out of the original screw. It's barely enough. To get into here, undo all the latches. There's 6 latches. Lift it off and just set it here. All right. The Alaska trip bike, I mounted a strap hinge on the front edge so that I could lift it up and flop it over, and then I just normally just buckled the back too, and that worked out really well. My lunch bag fit in there nicely. A couple water bottles, maybe my tablet. I don't know about my laptop or not, but at least my tablet. Alright, let's see how that looks. Yeah, no problem. That'll be fine. I've got this magnetic tank bag that I had little odds and ends, like I'd always keep my earplugs in here. It's got put together a proper toolkit. Yeah, that'll sit in here just right. That'll be good. I got room, I can set that. Still got room for the water bottles. Now we're talking. That way it's, instead of putting the foam inserts in there, then you got to cut them, and then it's never right. I'm going to save the foam inserts, and then later on I may make something better with it. Totally. Awesome. Cool. Airtight, except for the holes I drilled in the bottom. Watertight because the water won't hit the bottom holes. That'll be good. Basically the right color. It's made out of aluminum. It is military spec. It's got a national stock number. What more could you want? And it's basically part of the bike now. It doesn't move at all. Alright, thanks for watching. Hopefully you got something out of that. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't, please subscribe. That's really important right now. We're trying to get our numbers up so we can make a nickel. What's the other one? Like, subscribe, share, send me a comment if you have any questions or ideas that would work better for the next one. And if you really want, you can help me out on Patreon. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Happy riding.
Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, that should work. Cool. I do things differently. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Thank you so much for watching.
Oh yeah, full water, and I never drank any. All right.